remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again. The forgotten men and women of our country will be forgotten no longer. Everyone is listening to you now. You came by the tens of millions to become part of a historic movement, the likes of which the world has never seen before. And we all salute the same great American flag. And whether the child is born in the urban sprawl of Detroit or the windswept plains of Nebraska, they look up at the same night sky, they fill their heart with the same dreams, and they are infused with the breath of life by the same almighty creator. So to all Americans in every city, near and far, small and large, from mountain to mountain, from ocean to ocean, hear these words: you will never be ignored again. Your voice, your hopes, and your dreams will define our American destiny. And your courage and goodness and love will forever guide us along the way. Together, we will make America strong again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. God bless America.
All right, as we continue with Newt Gingrich, I want to go back and I think this president he has permanently changed the conventional wisdom about running. And in many ways, I think you had a big part to play in the Gingrich revolution or the contract revolution. I still to this day suggest people ought to duplicate and learn from what works in the past. And I have, you can see on my thing, Conservative Solution Caucus, I gave it to these idiots in 2013, and of course nobody listened. Why would they ever listen to a talk show host? But more importantly, you saw something here. This is what we were talking about. And more importantly, it's a president that makes promises and keeps them all, and wants to keep them all. Every other president promised to move Jerusalem to the capital. They never did. When he said he was going to pull out of the Iranian deal, he pulled out. Nobody saw North Korea coming, and he gave us the tax cuts he promised. He moved us towards energy independence. He's building the wall. That wall will be built. I have zero doubt.
Well, look, I think one of the things that's fascinating is Trump on little things is totally unpredictable, occasionally self-destructive, wanders around. You don't know what was up to. On really big things, he is amazingly stable. I got calls from European friends towards the very end on the Iran deal, and they said, "What can we do? What can we do?" And I said, "Look, you need to get him a really better deal, or he's gone." And they said, "Oh, how can he do it?" I said, "He said this for a year and a half. He actually means it." Same thing with as you know, I was the original author of the bill to move the embassy to Jerusalem, and so I watched all these presidents promise in the campaign and then break their word.
They all did.
In that sense, I think Trump has a very, very good track record.
But that's what worked also with the contract.
Sure.
And the contract was, we're going to vote on these things, not pass them all. We're going to vote on them in 100 days. Give us a shot.
Yeah, we designed the contract to be totally honest and totally enforceable, which is why we couldn't promise passage of some of those things, but we could promise voting on them. Remember, I grew up under Reagan. Reagan ran on a handful of things. He stuck to them. He totally believed them. He lived his life out with them for 8 years. The Soviet Empire disappeared. I always try to remind people, not only did he relaunch the American economy, not only did he rebuild civic culture and pride in being an American, the Soviet Union disappeared. That should be a fairly historic presidency.
I love in the first part of the book how you specifically, chapter 1, 2, the comeback of the country, the comeback of one nation under God, American sovereignty, of freedom of speech, of the tax cuts, and constitutional judiciary. And I love the fact that in the second part, you talk about ongoing challenges for the president. And number one on that side is fighting fake news and the rule of law versus the rule of Robert Mueller, and draining what is a real sewer and swamp in D.C. And he has I don't think there's a president that is being challenged in terms of his power, in terms of a real threat to his presidency. As we didn't know, but we do now, as this president was as a candidate, as a president-elect, and I do believe the left absolutely wants him gone. Any way they can succeed.
Look, as a historian, I looked at all this stuff, and it strikes me that it's so obvious if you go up to 50,000 feet. Every element of the left and about 20% of the Republican Party collectively would do anything to get rid of Donald J. Trump.
How do we deal? Here's what's happened, and I do my nutshell version of it, is it starts with Hillary Clinton, and she did not want congressional oversight. She commits a felony, violates the Espionage Act, then she's subpoenaed her emails. She deletes 33,000 subpoenaed emails, acid wash her hard drive, had somebody that works for her break up her devices. Okay, then we have Strzok, Comey, Page, and that whole mess. We know that they favored her over him. All the messages show it. They were writing an exoneration in May. They didn't even interview her to the weekend of the 4th of July. 2 days later, they exonerated her, but the exoneration was written long before the investigation by Strzok and Page. And then we're now learning that they launched this whole Russia probe way before the time that they said that they did. And more importantly, and sadly, they used the Clinton bought and paid for, foreign national put together dossier with Russian lies to manipulate the American people, lying to FISA court judges in an original application and 3 subsequent applications, and they never told the judges she paid for it. That is as quickly as I can say it. The biggest abuse of power and corruption scandal in history.
I think the greatest disappointment in the Trump administration is the Attorney General.
Huge. I agree with you.
Look, if we had a real Attorney General, all of this would be under investigation. I mean, if we had a crusading Attorney General who was prepared to turn over all the rocks and find all of the snakes and insects and other things that are hiding, we would be, first of all, astonished how sick the system had gotten and how much of it goes to Barack Obama and how much of it goes to Valerie Jarrett. And
well, that was the big revelation last week.
Yeah.
Is that we found a Strzok Page memo that says this is being run by the White House of Barack Obama.
But look, again, as a historian and an occasional novelist,
you couldn't make it up.
No, you have to say to yourself, given the style of the Obama White House, how likely is it that they got a FISA court decision and the president didn't know anything about it? Zero. It's impossible. That was an administration totally run by the genius of the one person at the center who every morning knew he was a genius.
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama.
Here's, but this is a real clear present danger for the president, in my view. Do you agree with that?
I think it's a real present danger for the country.
Agreed. If we don't get this right, tell me if I'm wrong. Are we the former Soviet Union? Are we now Venezuela?
I feel more Venezuela than Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I mean, decay, corruption. I mean, one of the things that's
a breakdown of our
a
constitutional...
total breakdown of the constitutional system. And one of the things that's very obvious from watching these guys is all of them assumed Hillary would win, and all of them assumed the cover-up would go on. And that's why you now have this amazing resistance. I mean, this election, and I try to explain this in my new book, Understanding Trump's America, that Trump's America depends upon us being able to retain power. Because if we lose power,
well, look what
comes in, boy.
Look at what's happened. I mean, now the polls show, 60% of the American people think it should be over, what they've done here.
Yes.
People, literally this all started in terms of our investigation really getting some legs, and we were right. It was March 7th of 2017 on Hannity that we literally, Sarah Carter, John Solomon broke the story that in fact surveillance of a FISA warrant had been issued against, we thought, Trump Tower at the time. We didn't have it exactly right. But in the course, everything I just laid out for you,